Well, look at this, something we haven't seen enough of this winter. Snow, it's falling in the high country tonight, and the storm is expected to stick around through tomorrow. We'll take it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Kyle Clark. Weather could make mountain travel a little bit tough, so that's why we begin tonight with meteorologist Kathy Sabin for a look at that picture. Kathy?
How about that? I love that we're leading the newscast with snow, something we haven't been talking about for weeks. And we have winter weather and travel advisories in and more snow coming. There's another storm taking aim at Colorado, and some of that moisture may make it into Denver on Thursday afternoon. Temperatures are still very mild out there, so that moisture for Denver may come in the form of rain. We are some 10 to 20 degrees warmer this hour than we were last night. A wind shift out of the southwest is bringing a lot of moisture into Colorado. We've been tracking snow showers all day, and some areas in northern Colorado under a winter storm warning could see up to 20 inches of snow by Friday. The Central Mountains under a winter weather advisory, 4 to 10 inches of snow. We're really excited about the possibility of the snow ramping up in coverage overnight tonight and then tracking some beneficial rain for Denver tomorrow. Coming up, we'll have the weather you'll wake up to and how much more of this we can expect heading into the weekend.
In an unprecedented move tonight, the Colorado Department of Corrections is preparing to redo the risk assessments of more than 1,700 people currently on parole.
This comes after 9 News Investigates uncovered a systemic problem that allowed a number of parolees to go largely unsupervised in the weeks before violent crimes. Chris Vanderbeek has the update.
Calls seemed simple, loitering on school grounds.
Your first name, sir?
Ryan, B-R-I-N.
No big deal.
Just give me 2 seconds and I'll let you all go.
Until an officer ran Brian's name and discovered one small problem.
No, I gotta talk to you, man. I'm sorry.
On parole, Brian Allen felt
we gotta do the
little
whole
need to
thing.
talk.
Don't do that. Drop the gun!
Last year's shootout with Denver police left Brian dead and left us at 9 News Investigates with questions. When it comes to assigning risk, parole uses a question and point-based answer system. The more points, the more risk. The more risk, the more supervision. Problem is, as we found, the system remains riddled with errors, some easier than others to spot. A year before his death, Allen's risk assessment assigned 1 point to the question, most serious arrest under the age of 18, and 1 point to age first began regularly using alcohol. Months later, scores that shouldn't change, changed, inappropriately lowering his risk score.
And some of us, quite rightly, are pissed about where we are today.
More than a dozen reports later, our investigation has left legislators furious.
That we are, learning about these things from Channel 9 News and people coming to our offices.
At a recent hearing at the state capitol, leaders of Colorado's Department of Corrections faced a series of critical questions centering on how did it get this bad.
I need to hear from you that you are taking full responsibility.
We accept responsibility of what has transpired, unfortunately.
Critically, when DOC did its own internal review following our investigation late last year, it found mistakes on 44 of the 45 parolee risk scores it examined. A stunning 98% error rate.
That's not good.
That's not good. That's not good. And we have a duty, we have an obligation to address that.
Newly appointed head of parole, Keto Best, tells 9 News the state will now review the scores of all low-risk parolees, a massive undertaking involving more than 1,700 individual parolee reviews.
We need to make sure, we need to affirm whether they are low risk or whether they're not. If they're not low risk, then we need to adjust our response to supervision accordingly.
It is not a trivial matter. Per state rules, low-risk parolees must meet with their parole officer once every 6 months or twice a year. High risk, once a month or 12 times a year. Low risk, maybe 1 drug test a year. High risk, up to 24.
Fixing parole here is critical to the safety of our state.
State Representative Chad Clifford says,
Director Stansel,
our reporting has now become impossible for DOC to ignore.
Do you think the Department of Corrections was dismissive of our reporting at first?
I believe that they were dismissive. I think that's pretty evident.
Is this a scrum or what's going on here?
It wasn't that long ago. The head of DOC was shielded by his own staff in order to keep us from asking questions.
All right, so we are here for the CTAP
Now, the state is retraining all of its parole supervisors on how to score assessments properly. And he is telling us this.
Why did it take an investigation by 9 News to figure this out?
There's so many things we're reviewing, and we were hoping that this was one that we could get to eventually.
Andre Stansel added, the parole system here in Colorado wasn't something he was terribly familiar with before he came to the job, because before he came to the job, he actually worked on the federal side where they don't have parole. In fact, he says he didn't really know this was a problem at all until 9 News brought it to his attention. Quote, this wasn't something that immediately jumped out to me, end quote. We're going to keep an eye to make sure that this fix is real. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
A disgraced former DNA analyst at the center of the CBI scandal is scheduled to go on trial this fall. Missy Woods is accused of falsifying reports and taking shortcuts in testing in dozens of cases over the course of her decades-long career. Today, she pleaded not guilty to over 100 felony counts. Tamara D. Harney was among those in court today. Her father was murdered in the early 1980s. DNA cracked that case a few years ago, but because Woods had worked on it, prosecutors agreed to a plea deal. That meant the man who killed Harney's father, Michael Jefferson, got a shorter sentence than he might otherwise have.
I don't even know the extent of everything she did. That's affected so many of us, and it has just turned so many lives upside down, and now to have to go back through for so many people, their cases will have to be retried. That's not fair. It's not right. And she should have to pay for that.
Barring a plea deal in the coming months, she will go on trial September 24th. It's estimated that trial could take 5 weeks.
A major funding cut is forcing Greeley-Weld Habitat for Humanity to scale back the pace of its building for its Hope Springs development. It's a 40-plus acre development in South Greeley where 491 families will eventually live, including 174 Habitat families. The nonprofit had planned to build out about 40 homes per year. But after a $1.3 million federal grant was reduced by $1 million, their building goal for this year is now cut in half. Leaders say the loss directly impacts down payment assistance and leaves a funding gap of about $60,000 per home. Families who live there pay no more than 30% of their income toward the mortgage, with donors and grants covering the difference. Instead of serving 40 families a year, Habitat expects to build about 20 new houses.
Yes, it's heartbreaking for us, but it's far more heartbreaking for the families, because they're the ones that are depending on us to be able to offer this opportunity, to open up doors of opportunity to be able to own their own home.
Habitat leaders say the project is certainly going to move forward, but the overall timeline of the build-out could change if they can't secure additional funding.
Colorado and 3 other Democrat-led states are suing to try and prevent the Trump administration from withholding $600 million in public health funding to those states. Democrat Phil Weiser joined fellow attorneys generals in California, Illinois, and Minnesota to file that lawsuit today. Weiser says Colorado stands to lose over $22 million in grants that have already been awarded, along with another $4 million in future funding. The lawsuit argues the grant cuts are purely political. For years, some of Colorado's most acclaimed chefs were not eligible for one of the world's most prestigious restaurant guides, and that changed today.
A Michelin guide is going to expand statewide in Colorado, opening the door to thousands of restaurants previously left off the map. 9 News reporter Rhea Giles along to explain why this is such a big stinking deal.
It's a big stinking deal. Colorado's restaurant industry says Michelin going statewide could mean more tourism and money flowing into other communities.
Jake, can I call this?
In the restaurant world, survival alone is an achievement.
We don't do this for accolades.
Recognition is something else entirely.
Pretty.
Caroline Glover knows that.
National awards equal butts and seats, you know? When I won Food and Wine Best New Chef in 2019, seeing Aurora, Colorado, you know, in this national magazine was a really big deal.
Caroline is also a James Beard award-winning chef. Her restaurant, Annette, has already earned some of the food world's highest honors, except the big one.
It's funny because we're just 500 feet from the Denver line.
500 feet is what made her restaurant ineligible for a Michelin until today.
Today's big news was very exciting. The Michelin Guide Colorado is expanding to cover the entire state.
For the past 3 years, Michelin only covered Denver, Boulder, and a select few mountain towns that paid into the program. Now, Denise Mickelson with the Colorado Restaurant Association says this new statewide contract puts 13,000 restaurants on the table.
It's going to be good for tourism. It's going to be good for the hospitality industry. We expect to have more visitors who will stay longer. stay an extra day to get to that Michelin restaurant.
Beyond the restaurants, the impact reaches the community they serve as well.
It will only bring more money to the city, and it will put Aurora on people's maps that it wasn't already there.
In a way, this expansion brings the Michelin Guide back to its roots. The guide was created by the tire company to help travelers find great food on the road, and now it could potentially be pointing people towards new destinations across Colorado. Rhea Cha, 9 News.